So a lot of people that I know have been going through things lately. So I just wanted to dig into my Bible today and just go over having faith. Because even including myself, it's just been a wild ride the past few weeks. So here we go. So the story I decided to dig into is from Deuteronomy. It's the story of Moses and how he was leading the Israelites to the promised land. Now, what I'm about to go over is not necessarily what can happen if you keep faith, but this is more so what can happen if you don't keep faith and you lose faith, especially during those times of struggle, which is the purpose of why I'm looking into things today, because people are struggling, going through things and kind of confused and don't know, what to do or where to turn. So for starters, Moses and the Israelites are traveling on a trip that normally takes 11 days, but it took them 40 years. It wasn't distance that stood between them and the promised land, but it was the condition of their hearts. God's purpose went deeper than simply transporting a huge group of people to a new land. He was preparing them to worship him alone and live in obedience to him once they arrived. The journey was a painful but necessary part of their preparation. The Lord commanded the Israelites to take possession of the land that was promised to them, but it would not just be given to them. They had to travel, face enormous challenges, and settle in and adapt to a new land. When God has called us to a new task, we need to break camp, break inertia, engage the challenges that come, and adapt to change. God requires us to do our part as he fulfills his promises to lead, guide, and provide for us. Another lesson, real quick. It was a tremendous burden for Moses to lead the nation by himself. He cannot accomplish the task single-handedly. As nations, organizations, and churches grow, they became increasingly complex. Conflicting needs and quarrels arise. No longer can one leader make all the decisions. So sometimes you may have a natural tendency to try to do all the work alone. You may be afraid or embarrassed or too stubborn to ask for help. Moses made a wise decision by asking for help. Rather than trying to handle large responsibilities alone, look for ways of sharing the load so that others may exercise their God-given gifts and abilities. Deuteronomy 1, verse 19. Just as the Lord and God commanded us, we left Mount Sinai and traveled through the great and terrifying wilderness, as you yourselves remember, and headed toward the hill country of the Amorites. When we arrived at Kadesh Barnea, I said to you, you have now reached the hill country of the Amorites that the Lord our God is giving us. Look, he has placed the land in front of you. Go and occupy it as the Lord, the God of your ancestors, has promised you. Don't be afraid. Don't be discouraged. But you all came to me and said, first, let's send out scouts to explore the land for us. They would advise us on the best route to take and which towns we should enter.